Yes, it is. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. For those that might be watching this a little later. Let me see if my... Excuse me. I'm gonna have to make this quick because can't about to start. It's a quick motivation live real quick before camp. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. Almighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. Lord willing that they can continue to endure and be sincere in sound doctrine in the same Spirit. And Shalom to the Akwat Yom, believers of His faith and His truth. Lord willing that y'all all can continue to endure and be sincere. Salaki, Shalom to the Akwat Yom, that are believers of His faith and His truth. Lord willing that you continue to pursue your law, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. Lord willing the most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. Right, my mind is trying to be clear for camp, man. Like the title of this live, it says if you teach, take heed. Right. Teaching is something serious, right? And we don't want to play around when it comes with Yahweh Shem Yahushai sheep. You want to make sure that you even examine yourself, make sure that you teach in sound doctrine, 100% truth, that you're directing them to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that you're not bringing up no new doctrine, that you're not in this thing for gimmicks, you're not in this thing to entertain, you're not in this thing for money, right? You're in this thing to feed the hopeful elect, right? And to speak judgment on this wicked kingdom. So the verse that I got on mine is Jeremiah chapter 48, verse 10. It says, "Cursed be he that doeth the work of Yahweh deceitfully, and cursed be he that keepeth back his sword from blood." Right? So anybody that's doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shai deceitfully, right, you're cursed. Right? So there's a lot of men that come in this thing that is teaching the word deceitfully. For you brothers and sisters that have that fear of the Lord, where you don't want to teach a lie, right? You want to continue to grow in that fear, right? Because at any moment, the Lord can spew you out. At any moment, He can have you believe in a delusion, a strong delusion, and you could change up the doctrine, right? Teaching is probably the most important job in His ministry, right? Of course, even being a teacher, you have to apply this too, because you're an example of what you're teaching, right? And if any man, cursed be he that keepeth back his sword from blood. Now we can look at this physical and you can look at it spiritual, because if just like Yahushua told Peter, feed my sheep, feed my flock, He told him 3 times, right? If he's keeping his sword back from blood, from correcting Jake, reproving Jake, right? When Paul corrected Peter for acting a certain way when he was with the Gentiles, then he seen the Jews, Paul had to get on him. So cursed be he that keep his sword back from blood. We supposed to be out here correcting and rebuking Jake for something that they say wrong or how they move, right? And that's just another token just for with apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the men on down for them, where they see bullshit, right? Something that can put blame to the ministry, right? Is a spirit in them to shake the hand, right? And this is what we want, man. You want this ministry to be blameless, right? So again, curses he that keepeth back his sword from blood, right? Let alone, what is it, 2 Corinthians 10, right? You're supposed to use your sword to bringing down the strongholds, right? Let me get this in Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, for even when we were with you, this we command you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. Right? So if you keeping back your sword from blood, keeping back your sword from edifying and building up the sheep, the men, women, and children, right? You don't deserve to eat, man. You don't deserve to eat the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You don't deserve to eat at the table of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? This is why, just like how what happened to me and my brothers, right? Through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, brothers got removed. Brothers don't want to do the work. Brothers making excuses. We make excuses for women. We make excuses because of a job, right? We make excuses because we leave in another city, another state, right? We can make excuses because of health, right? If you have the talent and the Lord have given you the gift, you're supposed to be using your gift on this earth, man, right? Take heed if you are a teacher, man, right? Because this is a job. This teaching this truth is a career, right? This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10. In verse 3, it says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, right? Because this is a war. This is a spiritual war that we going through the spirit, man, right? Dealing with demons, right? Men and women, right? Let alone, Salaki, freaking person next to me just staring at me like I'm a damn bird. Salaki, yeah. So we pulling down strongholds, false teachings, right? A stronghold, how the mindset of a woman in this Western world, how they think, right? We supposed to be pulling those things down, right? Take heed, you brothers that's teaching. This is a serious job, man, right? Paul said that he was compelled to teach the word, right? I think that is 2 Corinthians, the 9th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. It could be 1 Corinthians, the 9th chapter. Let's see. Let's see if this is the one where he said he was compelled. Paul said he's basically forced through the spirit. Hold on, Salaki. We'll try to find it real quick. Okay, Salaki. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9. I believe I want it in the NLT. Yes, I'm gonna read it in the NLT. Salaki, family. I just wanted to hit for those that is teaching. Even you women, man. That's teaching the children. Where you building up a sister that's single in this thing, right? You want to make sure that you teaching the same thing that's under the men in the Lord. This is 1 Corinthians, the 9th chapter, in verse 16 in the NLT, and that's what it reads. It says, yet preaching the good news is not something I can boast about. I am compelled by God to do it. How terrible for me if I didn't preach the good news, right? When you go into the word compel, that means he's forced through the spirit. Paul saying he's forced to teach the gospel, to teach the good news. So like it, family. Salaki. So again, when you go into that word compel, when you go into this word compel, he said, yet preaching the good news is not something I can boast about. I am compelled by God to do it. How terrible for me if I didn't preach the good news. Now, when I look up this word compel, it says force, right? You're forced through the Spirit to teach this word, especially if you are a man of the Lord, somebody that the Lord is using, just like Paul coming in this thing, Peter, right? Anybody that the Lord called in this thing through the Spirit, you are forced to teach this word, right? And we should be taking it serious, right? Let's go to the actual classic in St. John, the 15th chapter. I mean, the 21st chapter. When Yahweh Shai said this to Paul, this is something serious, man. You got to look at the state of the flock, right? This is St. John, the 15th chapter. I mean, the 21st. I don't know why I keep saying 15. Verse St. John chapter 21, verse 15. And so when they had dined, Yahweh Shai saith to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? And he saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto me, Feed my lambs. And he saith unto me again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto me, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto me, Feed my sheep. And he saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved, and he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahweh Shai saith unto him, Feed my sheep. That's very important, especially if you call yourself a teacher. If you teaching, you guiding, trying to correct brothers and sisters with the word, right? We are supposed to feed the sheep, right? They're hungry, right? You're feeding them with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. This is how, you know, the other believers get baptized in the Spirit. This is how they get the Rakak Wadash, by wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? They can't get it if brothers is not teaching, right? That's why we're supposed to be looking at the state of the flock, right? Let's get that one too. Let's go to Proverbs 27 and 23. This is Proverbs 27, verse 23. It says, Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herd, right? We should be looking at the state of the flock, right? Look what's going on in society. Look what's going on with the Northern Kingdom and Los Angeles. Or look at Jake, Four Corners of the Earth. Things is getting real. Look at how Jake is doing Pride Month. It's a whole straight man saying, yeah, Pride Month. Bro, you looking suspect, right? These is the moments where we teaching about pride. This is where we teaching about the destruction of this place. We see the unorthodox of the White House or the government, right? They're not in order, let alone they're not in agreeing with each other. They're against each other, right? That mean that something is not right with the kingdom if they're divided, right? So you want to feed the sheep. You want to be the newscaster. You want to be the one to warn the flock, right? Let's go to that Ezekiel, what was it? Ezekiel 33, where he's supposed to warn them of the sword, right? This is us being watchmen for the sheep, right? This is Ezekiel 33, verse 1. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, When I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man to their coast, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, right? While we teaching our brothers and sisters, we're warning them, right? This is where prophecies come into play. This is where brothers are giving a sense of dark sayings and parables, right? Because the end is here. It's coming. Yahweh Shai coming. You want to clean your garment, right? We want to tell you about the MOTB, right? That's why brothers is always doing updates on the MOTB, right? We watching the state of the women, right? We know brothers love women, right? But then in the same mindset, we got to warn you brothers that's dating, you know, an Israelite sister, especially a Judite. You're going to have problems if she's not trying to get in order, right? You got to raise the young men into men, right? And sometimes grown men need order too, right? You got to constantly watch the state of your flock, right? Because the elites or the government or the wicked of this world is always watching the Israelites. They're always watching us, seeing what we consume, how they can make us fall again, right? Always looking at the state of flock and always warning them to what's to come. Danger, danger, right? This is a very important job, man. It says, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. Right? So if you warning the flocks, right, they not taking heed, hey, that's them being held accountable, right? But we want to make sure that we getting the blood off of our hands. We want to make sure that we being an example. Yahushua, he was minister unto them, right? We have to be servants to the servants, right? Even if they not saying it, don't know, the wise men are the welfare of this world, right? Let's get that. Wisdom of Solomon 6 and verse 24. It says, but the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. Right, let me look up this word welfare in the etymology.com. Welfare, a state or condition of well-doing. Right, we are the welfare of the world. Right, we're the well-doing of the world. Right, through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right, because the men of the Lord has the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Really, they got the Rakak Wadash. They're the welfare of the world. Right, we know what's going on. Right, we know what's at stake. Right, it's either life or death. It's either life or death in this thing. Right, let me get Proverbs 11:14. This is Proverbs 11:14. It says, where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Right, who's the counselors? The wise men. Right, the men that uphold the Rakak Wadash, man. Right, let me get this one. Proverbs 1:20. It says, wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voices in the street. Right, this is a point of our ministry where we go into the highways and byways being a spectacle, but being a warning unto those that believe, those that drive past. Right, you like what, years ago somebody drove past, I think in the winter, said, yo, they did say that the men of the Lord will be in the highways and byways. We're here for those that's taking heed to the scriptures, taking heed to prophecies, taking heed to what was said in the Bible. Right, it says, she crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the opening of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? The scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Right, we're in the streets, right, bringing forth wisdom. Wisdom crieth out in the street. Right, brothers, if you out in the highways and byways, the spirit of Sophia, the spirit of wisdom is upon you. Right, we have to take this serious. Right, teaching is serious. Not just only this lesson, right, when brothers are going into the revelations, brothers going into Ezra's, brothers going into prophecies, brothers going into parables, brothers going into the law, brothers going to the gospels, brothers going into the Paul's epistles. Right, we have to be serious, especially when we're dissecting this, especially when we're trying to bring correct understanding in this thing. You want to take it serious. Right, because again, it's like the talents, you're supposed to bring back double. We're here to plant seeds. Right, you ain't in this thing for your own personal gain. We in this for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is 1 John 2:21. It says, I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and that no lies are the truth. Right, we don't want to be out here with a different spirit bringing forth a lie. Right, truly, if you are, your life is on the line. Your life is on the line regardless if you teaching the right way, the right way, or the wrong way. This is something serious. This is something to take serious. Talking to you men and women. You men and women that's watching and learning. You got to take it serious, because what I mean by serious is what you learn, you apply. Right? You don't want to just take it in one ear and then letting it go out the other. You want to take what you're receiving and apply it. Right? We want to have a readiness of mind. Right? Search the scriptures daily to see if it was so, like the people of Berea. That's what we should be doing. So, Lucky family, I'm trying to make sure that's what we should be doing, right? But I want to get some more, man. I want to get some more, man. Dang, I gotta go. Let me get this classic in Matthew 22, right? But it's more scriptures to go into it, like when we talk about order, right? When you come with teaching, you want to come with order, right? I shouldn't be trying to come in this thing and teach the word and then have a vendetta with Yaramayan and try to be a leader or something, right? You want to stay in order in this thing when it comes to being a teacher, when it comes to being a leader or a student of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And it's just the same as in dealing with women, right? This is Matthew 22, and I just want to get this point, verse 8 and 9, where it says, "Then saith he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So the servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests." Right? We have a job, right? Your job is to bid either good or bad. Just like when you look at Second Ezra, the 14th chapter, I believe 45 to 46, the Lord said, let these books be open to those that are worthy and not worthy, but give the secrets to the wise, right? And so we're teaching this word to those that are worthy and to those that are not worthy. Those that are not worthy is getting the judgment of the 2/3 and the judgments of the nation, starting with Esau and so on and so on, right? This is something serious, man, right? In our past life, people lost their life believing and holding this word to the heart, right? So now that you got it, it's your responsibility for you to hold it to heart. Put your life on the line. Is you willing to lose your life for this? Right? Let's get Luke 9 and 24. It says, "For whosoever will save his life will lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it." Like John the Baptist trying to tell Herod not to lay with his brother's wife, and the end, just because of that correction, even the woman got mad and wanted his head on the platter, right? The Maccabees, the 7 sons that held their ground not to eat abominable things, right? We want to we want to stand 10 toes down. Azariah, Hananiah, Mishael, where they said we're not going to bow down. No, our God is going to deliver us, and even if he don't, we still not going to bow down to your idol. That's the mindset you got to have, right? Be sure in the business that the Lord have set you in, right? It's another precept where you don't want to be slothful in business, right? We don't want to be lazy in this thing. Now, some of us have different talents, different attributes. Brothers might go live more. Brothers might go out to camp more. Brothers might do more exhortation. Brothers might get into the parables, right? Brothers might do the prophecy. Brothers might go through the whole Bible. Brothers might go into history. It doesn't matter. Do the most. Do the most, right? Yes, you could do the minimum, but the more you get a routine on the minimum, you should be trying to do the most, right? You want to make yourself worthy into the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Every work that you do for the Lord, every brick by brick, you're building the foundation or the surrounding for the elect, right? That's how you want to look at it. Lord willing, it's edifying. So like I can't go too long, out of respect for the brothers. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. Almighty Shalom to the hopeful elect. And Lord willing, they stay in the same spirit. And Shalom to the Akwatiyam, believers to this faith and this truth. Lord willing, must have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. Camp is going to be on 716 Israelites. So, you can go slide to that channel. That's the channel we're about to go live on. I'll probably try to screen record some of it. But Lord willing, I get to do a video or live later on. See you later on tonight. See what the Lord sealed in my instructions to bring out outside of this lesson. But with that, I want to say shalom. Shalom, blah, blah, blah.